Start with troubling news in Richmond. Violent crime continues to rise. We're learning more police officers are quitting their job. Good evening, I'm Candace Burns.
And I'm Bill Fitzgerald. Law enforcement experts say it's time to bring back a controversial strategy in getting criminals off the streets. Crime Insider John Burkett caught up with the mayor today to ask him if he agrees. John?
It's been a violent week in Metro Richmond, 6 shootings and 3 killed. An investigation last night that started in Henrico County ended with the death of 51-year-old Hassan Dixon in the city of Richmond.
I watched your report last night, and I heard that the wife heard the whole incident, which I knew was just, to me, just heartbreaking. If you can hear your loved one suffering on the other end.
The continuing violence, a heavy weight for victims and their families to shoulder. So far, 64 different times in 2021. I caught up with Mayor Stoney Wednesday.
Unfortunately, this has happened 64 times too many in the city of Richmond. That's just the bottom line. And for those who think they can get away with this, I want them to know that the Richmond Police Department is going to do their job and seek justice by finding these individuals who have no problem at all taking another person's life.
Tuesday night's victim was a grandfather and father. 51-year-old Hassan Dixon was shot in the parking lot of this convenience store off Laburnum Avenue in Henrico County before driving himself to this convenience store off Carolina Avenue in the city, where he would later die. Henrico police would lead the investigation that would identify Dixon's alleged killer from surveillance footage and have him locked up less than 24 hours later. That man has been identified as 25-year-old DeAndre Maryland. There have been more than 190 shootings in the city this year. The mayor tells me he partially blames easy access to guns, adding it's an epidemic that has festered for decades.
I know that you guys have been around the table with federal partners, and I know I've talked to experts that say, listen, Project Exile is still at their disposal. As the mayor, is it getting to a point where you're thinking, maybe we should bring that back in, because that seemed to scare the folks back in the 90s away from the violence?
Well, we want to bring all the resources to bear, but however, we also want to learn from the mistakes of the past as well. Yes, Project Exile was successful back in the 90s when we were seeing a high crime in a lot of our neighborhoods. But also, we know that we are, because of that time, over a period of time, we've learned from how to actually execute programs like this moving forward. So I don't know whether it's Project Exile, but I do know that we have to work with all our partners to bring these individuals to justice.
And doing that in the city will be with far less eyes and ears on the streets. There are 93 vacancies in RPD's ranks right now. 30 more are set to leave by the end of November. A team of 12 aggravated assault detectives has been cut in half, according to Crime Insider sources, with a growing stack of major crimes cases to solve.
We're not the only locality in the country that's experiencing people rethinking whether or not they want to be in law enforcement. However, I do want those who are currently chosen this profession know that we do appreciate their service to the city. Yes, times are more difficult and more challenging than we've ever had before because of the pandemic. And there's a number of factors that spin off of that have caused a high spike in crime. It's not the sole reason, it's not the sole factor, but it's one of many factors that are involved here. It's my hope that they stick with us through all of this, because Lord knows we do need them.
Hassan Dixon was a father of 4 and also a grandfather of 4. His accused killer, DeAndre Maryland, sits in Henrico Jail West with no bond.